Hi, I'm Gail Monaghan. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make banana cream pie. This is one of the recipes featured in my Wall Street Journal article on banana desserts. And what you need for banana cream pie is you need a pre-baked crust. You can either buy a crust or you can make your own. I've gone ahead and made my own. Then you need vanilla custard, which we're going to make, and bananas. And once that's all cooled in the fridge, you put whipped cream on the top. So let's go ahead and start making the vanilla custard. So what you do, for the vanilla custard, you put sugar. This is a cup of sugar, 6 tablespoons of cornstarch. That helps thicken the custard. A generous 1/4 teaspoon of salt, fine salt. Okay, and I'm going to take a whisk and just stir all of that together so it's nice and mixed up. And I may actually use the rubber spatula to help do that. Okay, what happens next is we are going to add the egg yolks and the milk. It's 3 cups of milk and 7 egg yolks. We're going to add that to this, but I've learned that it's easier to do that if you take your 7 egg yolks, you put them into the milk, and you whisk that together so that the egg yolks break up a little bit before we try to combine them with the dry ingredients. We're going to take it, we're going to dump it all into the dry ingredients, and then we are going to whisk that together. And what you really want to do is this has to be well whisked because you really don't want lumps in your custard. So this is whisked well. I even like to take my spatula and go around a little bit and just make sure all of the dry ingredients are whisked in. Okay, so now we add the cream, and we're going to whisk that in. And now the custard is all ready to cook. Okay, so now I'm going to take this uncooked custard over to the stove where I'm going to cook it. So I'm going to put it here on, to start with, I think I'll do a medium-high heat, and I'm going to whisk it until it begins to simmer. You take it off the stove. Okay, so now it's been a minute. We're going to take it off the stove. We're going to turn off the heat. We're going to take it off the stove. We're going to take it back over to the counter. So now we have the cooked custard, and we're going to enrich it with 3 tablespoons of butter that have been cut up into small pieces. So we're going to stir in these 3 tablespoons of butter, and the heat of the custard will melt the butter. And then what we're going to do is stir in 4 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So actually, a tablespoon equals 3 teaspoons. So I'm going to put in a tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon. So here's my tablespoon. There we go. Tablespoon of vanilla extract. And then I'm going to find the teaspoon. And a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, so there's that. We're going to stir it in. Right now the butter is melted. Okay. All right, so there we have it. What we're going to do now is we're going to take the spatula once again and go around the edges. And then what we need to do before we can put this in the actual pie is we need to cool the custard. So I'm going to get a bowl, I'm going to cover it with saran wrap and put it in the refrigerator. So now our custard is done, but it's still too hot to use. So we're going to dump it into a bowl. We're going to cover the bowl with saran wrap because we don't want a skin to form. So here we have the custard. We're going to flatten it out on the top a little bit. We're going to cover it with saran wrap because if you don't, a skin will form. And you're going to put it in the fridge for several hours. This is even something you can do the day ahead. But it really has to be cool before you make the pie. So there you've got it. The saran wrap is touching the custard, and I'm going to put it in the fridge. Okay, so we've had our filling in the refrigerator for several hours. I've taken off the saran wrap. I have my pre-baked pie crust. So what I'm going to do, and here I have 3 bananas cut into chunks. Okay, and you want your bananas to be really ripe because that gives real flavor to the pie. So you take about 1/3 of the filling, you put it in the bottom of the pie crust. You're going to take half the bananas, you're going to put them on top of that, kind of any way you want. I like to kind of stick them down in, kind of ends down, but you can really do it however you want to. Just stick the little bananas down in there. about half of them. And you're going to take a little more filling, you're going to put it over the top. Okay, you're going to take the rest of your filling, you're going to put it on top, and now this goes back in the fridge for at least 3 hours, between 3 and 6 hours. You don't want to leave it much more than 6 hours because the crust may become a little soggy. But you've got that. I take more saran wrap. Cover the pie crust. And it's going back in the fridge. Okay, there you go. So this is going into the fridge again. And all that's necessary now is a little bit of whipped cream at the end.